Abingdon's Historic Preservation Review Board's regular meeting. I'm Betsy White, the chairman. This is a citizen board appointed by the town council to interpret and uphold Abingdon's Historic Preservation Ordinance, which is Chapter 44, Section 2-4 of Abingdon's zoning ordinance that protects the historic district of Abingdon, which has been designated the Old and Historic District, along with all of its contributing resources, including buildings, structures, and sites, from negative encroachment resulting from inappropriate construction, design, alterations, or demolitions. Our review process is guided by our design review guidelines, which are based on the United States Secretary of Interior's standards for rehabilitation. Our aim on this board is to provide a positive bridge between the design review process and property owners seeking to make changes, working together through the natural partnership that exists between us for mutual good. The result will be to ensure Abingdon's Historic District continues as a valuable asset and one that makes Abingdon a good place to live, to work, and to visit. We appreciate your interest, and we encourage public participation in our meeting. Your comments are important to our decision-making process, so anyone who is addressing the board will please approach the podium, identify your first and last name, and give your complete mailing address. Roll call.
Mrs. White?
Here.
Mr. Boyd?
Here.
Mrs. Hartshorn? Mrs. Bunn?
Here.
And Mr. Anderson?
Here.
Before we begin the agenda, we have an additional item to the agenda to add tonight. And so it is number 3 on your list. Kristen Baker, 180 East Main Street, Abingdon, is the applicant. Hawking Holdings, 6802 Rio Bravo Lane, Austin, Texas, the owner. Jerry Signs from Porterfield Highway in Abingdon. And Ms. Baker is here to represent herself. So what I'd like to have is a motion to add this item to our agenda.
I'll make that motion to add this item to the
Okay.
agenda.
Dwayne Anderson makes that motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Peyton Boyd seconds the motion. Any further discussion? Roll call.
Mrs. White?
Aye.
Mr. Boyd?
Aye.
Mrs. Bunn?
Aye.
Mr. Anderson?
Aye.
Okay, thank you. We now will proceed to approval of minutes. We have 2 regular meetings to approve, April the 2nd and May the 2nd, both in 2025, and they were included in our packets. Any questions about them or comments? If there are none, do we have a motion to approve the first one, April the 2nd?
That was not there.
I want to make sure I looked at them.
I guess you were the only one that was there. It's up to you. Can I second it?
This says March the 5th.
Well, actually, because Mr. Anderson's just filling in, we might not be able to do this one because Ms. Hartshorn was the other one there.
I know.
So we can table this.
We'll just table this? Okay, we'll table the minutes until our next meeting, until we have, apparently nobody was at that meeting except for me and Mr. Boyd here.
Let me see.
Okay,
You can approve the May minutes if you so wish.
the May minutes?
Yes, because...
All right, well, let's try the May minutes then.
I make a motion to approve the May minutes.
All right. Okay, Ms. Bunn makes a motion to approve the May minutes.
Second the motion.
Mr. Boyd seconds that motion. Roll call.
Mrs. White? Mrs. White?
Yes.
Mr. Boyd?
Aye.
Mrs. Bunn?
Aye.
Mr. Anderson?
All right. So now we'll proceed to our certificates of appropriateness applications. The first one is from my husband and me. It is to do, let's see, why don't we have a staff report on that?
So Ramsey and Betsy White, applicant and owner, have requested approval of a certificate of appropriateness for driveway surfacing. There are other certificate of appropriateness items deemed COA waiver eligible, include the following: replacement of existing copper round downspout near southeast corner of primary building with a copper round downspout matching the existing material, design, and appearance. 2, repoint lime-based mortar joints around existing iron painted black vents on the western half of the primary south elevation, with a lime-based mortar matching the existing composition, color, and profile. And then 3, repaint portions of the existing painted white wooden trim with paint matching the existing type and color. The property is located at 133 East Main Street. And the property is within the Old and Historic Zoning District, Sub-District 1. This is just as background, this is a contributing building. So just to let you know, guys know, both in the local and in the state footprint. Again, staff finance applicant proposed to surface the existing grass driveway with brown pea gravel and complete COA waiver eligible items, including the following. That includes the replacement of the copper downspout with one that matched the existing material, design, and appearance. Repoint the line-based mortar joints around those iron vents that are there on the eastern side of the primary building, and then repaint portions of the existing painted white wooden trim, and that's just various sections all throughout the house there, all throughout the exterior. According to the section entitled Driveways, Parking Lots, and Paving, within the design guidelines, brown pea gravel as a material used to service driveways, parking lots, and paving is appropriate within the Old and Historic District as described below in the below excerpt. No appropriate proprietary system will be used to secure the brown pea gravel. So here's the existing kind of area here. It's grass at the moment, and they are just looking to put brown pea gravel down, and again, that is one of the appropriate surfacing materials. Per the Virginia Department of Transportation, or VDOT standard, PE-1, the connection between the private residential entrance and a public roadway can be a maximum width of 52 feet, then tapering down to a 20-foot radius shoulder, and then when it comes into the where the road hits the property line, then it's a 12-foot lane as shown, and then after that it can open up into a full parking lot after that connection there. And that diagram's in your packet there. Again, this is just the existing path where the pea gravel will be placed. The following eligible COA waiver items were approved by staff prior to the HPRB regular meeting held on June 4th, 2025. So here's just some photos to show you. So here's the existing one that was here on the other side. Again, this is the replacement one. All good. They reused the brackets and they installed them properly into the mortar joints. So again, this was approved by staff before it came to the board because it was waiver eligible. This is just to show you the deterioration of the mortar here, this one and this one. They will be repointing with an appropriate mortar, matching composition, type, and color.
They black now?
The vents?
Yeah.
They're sort of black, yeah.
Yeah, this is faded. Yeah.
It's sort of blue and gray.
It's not blue and gray.
And then portions of the existing trim throughout the exterior of the house will be touched up with the same paint. So, and those were all.
That's just the annual spring painting.
Yep.
Touch up, right?
So the only thing that the board is looking for approval would be the driveway surfacing. That's pretty much essentially changing from grass to pea gravel.
Well, the applicant is here. Are there any questions about the driveway? It's just has never had any gravel put on it. And our neighbors all have pea gravel to the side of us and to the back of us. So we're just copying what they do. And it just needs something. It looks like it's a little old and grassy. So that's what we're doing, just pea gravel like everybody else's.
I'm having trouble understanding this drawing.
Where are you at?
He's looking at the drawing.
Where it says main roadway, is that the alley?
That's
That's
Plum
the
Alley.
alley.
That's Plum Alley.
That's
So
Plum
that's just a
Alley.
diagram from VDOT standard. That's just a generic one that
Yeah.
for any kind of public street.
And I have given those dimensions that you've told me to the contractor who's going to do it.
Yeah.
Will you be using this as a driveway or just?
We'll use it as a place to park sometimes. You know, we park both beside it in the parking lot.
Yes, ma'am.
But we park around there in the back, particularly on Sunday morning for the Presbyterian Church to have
Yes,
their
ma'am.
parking lot. It'll be easier to use it as parking once it gets to be
Yes,
pea
ma'am.
gravel on it.
Yes, ma'am.
You want a motion?
Yes, we need a motion if there are no questions. Are there any questions from the public? We encourage that if you have any. Okay.
Move we approve the gravel driveway application
Mr. Boyd has,
as presented.
Mr. Boyd has moved that we approve the gravel driveway certificate of appropriateness application as presented.
I'll second.
Mr. Anderson seconds the motion.
Mrs. White?
Aye.
Oh, you'll have to abstain.
Oh, sorry, abstain.
Mr. Boyd?
Aye.
Mrs. Bunn?
Aye.
Mr. Anderson?
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, our second one is the Town of Abingdon.
So yes, the Town of Abington, owner slash applicant, have requested approval of a certificate of appropriateness to allow a 36-inch by 48-inch, 12-square-foot rectangular, non-illuminated CNC carved high-density urethane, or HDU, freestanding sign. Black will be used as the primary background color with various shades of blue, located in the top third of the sign to symbolize the Blue Ridge Mountains. White will be used for lettering. The property is located at 100 Rimsburg Drive, and the property is within the Old Historic District, Sub-District 1. Background, the building, address 100 Rimsburg Drive, is known as the Abingdon Farmers Market. It was constructed in 2007, and the building is not mentioned in either Place and Time Volume 2, or Volume 1 or Volume 2, and is not on the state register because it was built in 2007, so it's a non-contributing building and site. Staff findings, the applicant proposes replacing the existing 14-square-foot freestanding HDU and metal sign with a 36-inch by 48-inch, 12-square-foot rectangular non-illuminated CNC carved high-density urethane freestanding sign. And again, black will be used as the primary background color with various shades of blue located in the top third of the sign to symbolize the Blue Ridge Mountains. White will be used for the lettering. Eye hooks will be screwed into the bottom of the sign to allow the applicant to change the hours of operation depending on the season. The hours of operation will be fabricated from HDU or metal. The hardware will be painted black. So this is the existing sign right here that we have. As you can see, the design up here is starting to fade away and everything. Needs a little bit of a touch-up. And this is the hours here that are put on as the seasons rotate, in a sense.
Will the new sign go at the same place as the old sign?
Yes, it will be in the same spot, yeah.
Same spot.
Will there be one sign at the time?
Yeah, so imagine in a sense that this is the main sign here, and then the hours will change as the seasons rotate.
Yeah.
But this hardware will stay in place, it will just be painted black. Same thing with any of the hanging hardware, that will be painted black as well to do that.
Like Ms. White said, but it'll be visible on both sides.
Yes,
of the
visible on
sign,
both sides.
both
Yep.
sides.
Just how it is now. This
All
one's
right.
double-sided and everything. So
Yeah.
pretty much it's
Double-sided.
going to have the same sort of double-sided and everything, same sort of setup in terms of conveying the information. This design does also match our signs that we have at the Visitor Center and the Visitor Center for the Creeper Trail. So there's some continuity in there with the coloring and the design of it. So when everybody sees that sign, they know it's a town area
Yes, sir.
and everything. But yeah, and we're decreasing when the sign's bigger than what's allowed, 14, so we're actually bringing it down a little bit.
All right.
Okay.
So the piece with the changing days and hours will be a separate board.
Yeah, it'll be hung from that too.
And it looks like it's going to be more than half the sign, really,
Well,
if it's the scale shown there.
yeah, there's going to be some tweaking here with this design, but it will just have the hours like that and everything. So I'll have like pretty much Tuesday, Saturday, that kind of stuff.
Gotcha.
But overall, it's going to be 12 square feet, smaller than what's already there. And again, you want it somewhat, we're bringing it down smaller, but you want it a little bit bigger just so people can actually read the hours and everything. And we're keeping the same design. And this sort of design in terms of hanging something, you see that all over the Old Historic District.
So it's gonna be two signs, sort of like what's there now?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yep.
okay. And then
Because it's going to change from
for
season to
the
season.
winter, the holiday,
Yeah.
yep, all that, okay.
And again, they'll be made out of HDU. The top one's made out of HDU. The bottom one might be HDU or metal. We're not exactly sure yet, but the bottom one is, the existing one's metal. Either way, this is meant to be a facelift.
I got you. I like the Abington design in that as well, too. I like the colors.
And they're meant to match our existing new signs that we had for Fields Pen that came before the board, and the Finley, and the, I say the Finley House because that's the historic name of it, but the Creeper Trail Visitor Center. So this way, when people see this sign too, they'll know, like, this is a town area, it's gonna be public, and, you know, this is a more visitor space where people can come and enjoy the farmer's market, enjoy the visitor center, enjoy the Creeper Trail Visitor Center.
Okay. Any questions? Any further questions? Any public comment? All righty.
I make a motion to approve the COA as presented.
Ms. Bunn makes a motion to approve the certificate of appropriateness for the sign as presented. Second. Mr. Anderson seconds that motion. Any further comment? Roll call.
Mrs. White,
Aye.
Mr. Boyd,
Aye.
Mrs. Bunn,
Aye.
and Mr. Anderson.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank
All right,
you.
our third and final is Kristen Baker for her signage. All right, staff report.
So Kristen Baker, applicant, and Jerry Signs representative have requested approval of a certificate of appropriateness to paint the existing green painted wooden primary entrance door with an oil-based or latex-based paint, replace the existing non-illuminated projecting sign on the primary north elevation of the building with a 3.85 square foot non-illuminated projecting sign, and remove portions of the applied vinyl graphics from both the existing wood-framed commercial display windows and the existing green-painted wooden primary entrance door. The property is located at 180 East Main Street and is within our Subdistrict 1. So background, there is an existing non-illuminated projecting sign approximately 4 square feet hung from a non-contributing aluminum pre-finished black scroll bracket. So this is the existing sign right here you can see. And as I said, they propose to replace the existing non-illuminated approximately 4 square foot projecting sign with a projecting sign fabricated from medium density overlay or MDO. That is another wood composite, so that's pretty much just imagine pieces of plywood put together and then a resin around it to seal it. So it's another type of wood composite, but I figured I'd describe that since we see HDU most of the time. It's just a different variation of a wood composite. With digitally printed graphics, hung from the existing non-contributing aluminum pre-finished black scroll bracket, using a combination of pre-finished black chain links and pre-finished gold eye hooks on the onto the primary north elevation. The proposed projecting sign will consist of a top panel measuring 5.5 inches by 18 inches and 26 3/4 inches by 17 inches for a total area of 3.85 square feet. The color scheme of the proposed projecting sign consists of a gold border, green background, and gold lettering. Per the ordinance, the sign must be at least 8 feet above the sidewalk, which Jerry Signs has already measured that and has ensured that it will be 8 feet above per our town code. Here's the design. So again, the bracket is staying in place, and there's the top panel, and then the bottom panel.
What kind of material will this be, Gabe?
It's a MDO, so it's another wood composite. So best way to describe it is imagine a lot of pieces of plywood pressed together, and then a resin's injected into it to kind of seal it up and bind them all together. And I believe that's correct how I'm kind of describing it in a sense.
Yeah, it basically comes down to like a marine grade plywood, used more like next to water, boats, that type of stuff, so it holds up really well in weather conditions.
Does this fit our criteria?
Yes.
It does.
It's another type of wood composite which we would allow.
Yes, sir.
So next, after the sign, the applicant proposes to remove portions of the applied vinyl graphics from both the existing wood frame commercial display windows and existing green painted single pane primary entrance door located on the primary north elevation. The portions proposed to be removed are highlighted in your packets. I'll do it here on the screen here. So this right here, the applicant has decided that she doesn't want this on the window at the moment, so she's going to have it removed. So these two right here, and then kind of the branding ones that are right here. Not the. She's going to keep the unique gifts, fine furniture, and custom lamps, but the kind of providers names right here. These two right here, and then the one over here will be removed as well.
Okay.
And then obviously the thing from the door will be removed as well. Okay, where it says shady business. Then lastly, the applicant proposes to paint the existing green painted single pane primary entrance door on the primary north elevation black The existing paint type will be determined by the contractor to ensure the new paint type matches the existing paint type. So again, just making sure if it's oil-based paint, you use oil-based paint. If it's latex, you use latex, just to make sure it adheres properly. Do you have any questions for me before we have Jerry Signs come up and talk about the sign, and then we can have Kristen come up and talk about the door and everything?
Any questions, anyone? Okay, all right, thank you. Please come.
All right, how are you doing today? Good.
What we're gonna do is we're gonna reuse the existing bracket and everything. We're just gonna put up a new MDO sign. It'll be vinyl graphics. But really the only change is the color may vary slightly. That's the Pantone the customer provided to us, so it kind of turns out just a little bit lighter than what that original rendering was, but that may be the only variation.
I think it's a nice looking sign.
Very nice.
I like the design. Really nice.
Any,
Really nice
any
design.
questions for Jerry Signs? Okay. Kristen, do you have anything you'd like to say? Okay. Okay. All right. No questions? I think it certainly meets all the criteria that,
think it does,
for as
too.
far as size and material. Okay. If there are no further questions, I'll entertain a motion.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the certificate of appropriateness for the new sign and paint color on the door and removing the vinyl graphics on the windows.
Okay. Ms. Bunn would like to make a motion to approve the certificate of appropriateness application as presented for the sign, the vinyl on the windows, and the paint on the door. Second?
I'll second that.
Mr. Anderson seconds that motion. Any further questions? Roll call.
Mrs. White,
Aye.
Mr. Boyd,
Aye.
Mrs. Bunn,
Aye.
and Mr. Anderson.
Aye.
All right. Okay, very nice. Welcome to business.
Yeah. Good luck to you.
Yeah. Yes, very
I
much.
like the nice windows in there, and I like how you're taking that off of the top there. Just creates a little bit more historic preservation look, and I like that. Really nice. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so old business not on the agenda.
Just one here. I sent an email out to the board members. As some of you know, we have annually their CLG training provided by the Department of Historic Resources, DHR. The closest one for us this year would be City of Roanoke. That's on August 22nd. And I sent that out if there was any interest. And I believe, Ms. Bunn, you replied that you would be interested in that. So I'll register you and I to go attend that event. Like I said, if anybody else has any interest in it, just let me know and I can get you registered as well for the training.
Good. And I will throw in there that this training is very good from the CLG, Certified Local Governments. And because we are a certified local government, it does require us to have training to be on this commission. So I've attended these in the past, and they are always extremely informative. So it's good that we're going to this one.
Other than that, there's just 2 waivers there.
Okay. All right,
Nothing
then.
really too crazy with those.
Anybody have any questions about the waivers at all? If there are none,
I have
okay.
a couple of items I wanted to share with the board.
All right. Before we adjourn or after we adjourn?
While we
While
matter.
we're in session.
Yeah.
Okay, well, go ahead.
Well, they're not official. I was just going through some old papers, and I found reprints from Bristol Herald Courier of February, and I think the other one's April of 1971.
1971, so that would be right after this was designated an old and historic district.
That's
The
right.
year I was born. 71. 71.
Yeah, I graduated from college.
Yeah.
So, and I just have one copy, but if anybody wants to,
Okay,
I'll be glad to copy this and send if you want it for your.
that would be very nice.
This is County Chamber pushes new look in Abingdon. And it's that building.
Oh, yeah, the Ellis.
The Ellis
Yeah.
building.
I'd like to take a look at that, Peyton, if we.
So I'm going to send it down,
Yes, sir.
Wayne, and then I'll be glad to send you a copy.
Yes, sir.
Very nice.
Some of this is Chamber of Commerce business that has nothing to do with the board, but there's a little bit that talks about facelifting going on I think this was right before the Main Street was rebuilt from, I think, from Russell Road all the way up to somewhere in town, I forget where. And this was, town will pay state to build on Main Street. And this was brick sidewalks that were, I guess, the ones that were put in.
That are being upgraded now.
Probably, yeah. There's that. And then this council recommends review board members. This was the first. 5 citizens of Abingdon were recommended by the town council in session Monday night to serve on the newly formed Board of Architectural Review. In connection with the new zoning ordinance which formed historical zone.
That's nice.
Does it say the names, Peyton?
It does. Let's see, recommended to serve on the board were George Summerson, representing the town council. He was the mayor at one time.
Okay.
Charles Day, architect.
Mm-hmm.
Margaret Stewart, representing the planning commission. Maxine Hilton, an interested citizen and with historical knowledge. And Andy Hargroves, real estate.
All right. I
Interesting.
think Charles Day had something to do with building the E.B. Stanley. Didn't he have the son Frank Day and Rick?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Frank Day.
Yep.
Yeah. Your age
Do you
group.
remember?
He chaired this board for years.
Yes,
Okay.
he did.
I did not know that, but I do know today.
I think, at least on the first 2 terms when I was on, he was the chair.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Great.
You want to pass those, Betsy?
Yeah.
And then the other thing, this is just something. In 2001 and 2002, I organized design symposia in Bristol as part of Believe in Bristol.
Mm-hmm.
And the second one was called Speaking of Preservation, so it was more in line with what we're doing. And this was just a program from that day, and it talks about the speakers. One was William Murtaugh, who was the first, what was the title? First keeper of the National Register of Historic Places. And he wrote that book that I handed out to the board members. And then the second was William Kennedy, who's been really involved in Jonesboro. And it's probably the person who's had the most influence on preservation in Jonesboro, Tennessee. And then third was John Curran, who was, he was what?
He's from the Department of Historical Resources.
He's what-
head of the Roanoke office.
He was.
Yeah.
He's what Mike Pulis is.
Yes.
now.
Okay.
So that's, if you want to just see what this program looked like.
That's nice. Yeah.
This was the one from 2001, but we weren't talking about preservation, we were just talking about good design.
Mm-hmm.
That was all.
That was nice. Those early documents are wonderful. It's worth pointing out that Abingdon was one of the very first historic districts in Virginia in 1970.
Was, if not the first, the second. I think Alexandria maybe was the
It's
first.
very, very much at the beginning of it.
Yeah, that's great.
And the fact that we are a certified local government is another feather in our cap, too. All right. Shall we adjourn now?
Yeah, just need a motion.
A motion
and
to
second, and roll
adjourn.
call.
I'll make
What?
a motion to adjourn.
I'll second that. To adjourn.
Okay. Ms. Bunn and then Mr. Anderson.
Mrs. White,
Aye.
Mr. Boyd,
Aye.
Mrs. Bunn,
Aye.
and Mr. Anderson.
All right.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Nice meeting. Everybody have a nice evening.